Hey guys, welcome back to According To. I'm Megan.
And I'm Ciera. For today's episode, Megan and I thought it'd be fun to talk through the evolution of our content creation on primarily YouTube, but social media in general. Since we've been doing this for quite a long time, we've gone through quite a few different stages of what we've made on the internet.
And who knows how long you guys have been following along on our journey. Maybe you guys have just found us through the podcast and you only listen to us on here. Maybe you've been following us since our gymnastics videos on YouTube. Maybe you found us on our vlog channel. There's lots of different entry points. Any of you guys could have come into our lives and kind of are now watching us, listening to us. So maybe this will be kind of a history lesson for you if you're not familiar, or maybe it'll just kind of be nostalgic and we'll talk about our internet history, I guess.
It's kind of similar to, when people do Draw My Life videos on YouTube. It's like that, but instead of our grand, everything in life, it's just YouTube and internet specific stuff. And then also it's us talking you through it, not drawing, which is good for you guys because drawing is not our strong suit.
So we'll jump into that in a little bit, but we are going to do our typical weekly spotlights and anything else. Recent things, book stuff.
You know the
drill. So my weekly spotlight. What's been a good thing this past week? Do you have? We went Christmas shopping with our dad.
That was going to be mine.
I'm more so in a state right now where I'm trying to look forward to things. Things aren't happening right now, but I'm trying to have some good things to look forward to coming up.
What she means by that is she's trying to plan a trip for next year. That is the only thing she's thinking about.
Yes. And today I was we really, I've been talking about this in the podcast the past couple of weeks. But either I'm planning the trip or it's not happening because Ciera's not planning the trip. That seems to be a common theme.
You act like it's a bad thing, but I could not go on a trip for a while.
I'm just you would never go anywhere.
It would be easy for me to go to a different state. I feel like that's pretty easy and low stakes for me to plan. Going to a different country is a lot more work.
So, current thing that we're leaning towards, which I'd be ready to book stuff today, but Ciera wants to figure out her PTO, which fair enough.
We also technically have to submit PTO.
Oh, I would book before I submit my PTO.
Okay.
But I would also, I would be heads up, fair warning. But I don't think they would deny my PTO request anyways. So, here's I kind of changed gears a little bit because we're leaning towards, this has not been booked yet, so this could change. But St. John's, which is one of the U.S. Virgin Islands, and instead of trying to find a flight for a specific amount, I instead changed gears today to say, okay, all in for flight, place to stay, and if we're renting a car, what do we want that range to be? And then I was kind of we decided on a range, and then now it's kind of a free-for-all as long as it all fits in that range. So we were looking at some videos. It looks like a beautiful, lovely island I would love to go visit. So fingers crossed that we can get all that to work out and align.
My fingers are crossed as well.
We actually, instead of February, it looks like the current days I'm looking at are early March, so slightly shifted a little bit. But I just want to have a nice week vacation. And I was also thinking, this is unrelated, but this year, I guess, still, the PTO I've used has been for okay, we had a bachelorette trip that we had to do. We had a wedding we had to go to, and then we went to Cincinnati. So we had things that kind of I had to use PTO, and I was not mad that I had to use PTO for those said things, but I'm kind of this next year I don't have any weddings that I'm planning on going to, no trips that I no
aside from the one that you're planning.
I'm saying no oh, I need to make sure I have PTO for this set event. I can't think of anything next year. And so something that I'm I didn't have the opportunity to do much of this year was for 4th of July, if I wanted to take another vacation day to have a longer break, or I'm just I need to use and think ahead to like put my PTO days in.
Put your PTO where you want it.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But that's all I had for like
our shopping venture. We do this every year with our dad. So jumping back to like the spotlight that we were talking about. Every year before Christmas, our dad historically is not like the best picking out presents for each of us on his own, and so he's just like turned it into this tradition of like we go to the mall for a day and like we'll pick out Christmas presents. And this happens like for the past couple of years. It seems like we'll get to the mall and like struggle to pick out what we want, shopping, and then you get drained after a while.
Well, shopping in and of itself, like you have to be in the mood to do, I feel like. And then around Christmas time, with how crowded everything gets, it just really becomes like draining. And like, let's say like you're in a popular store and it's popular, and so the line is super long, and so then you're like, oh, how badly do I want us to wait in this line to like have this gift? And I also like, I didn't have any specific things that like I knew were still on my Christmas list. I also like I'd given a list to my mom, and so I was kind of like, I can't like double up in case there's any like overlap there. And I just like didn't really like,
I get annoyed with myself because I know I want things.
Yeah,
like there are
like, there was a whole mall there I could
that I want, not even just at the mall, but like there's stuff online, or just I feel like I'm always like looking at Pinterest and stuff like, oh, I want that, and I want this, and I want that, and then I'm shopping, and like it's a time and place for me to actually like say that I want things and have someone else buy it for me, and I'm just like, I got nothing. So yesterday I ended up like getting at least one like Iowa quarter zip, and I have yet to figure out what I want the rest of that money
I was
to
kind
go
of like,
towards.
I could have him just give me money
to contribute to the trip.
Yeah,
it's not a bad idea.
It was a thought. Because I was getting so tired of being at the mall. And so I did get a few things from Offline by Aerie, and like they're good things, but like they weren't anything I was like, oh, I need this. But I was like, I'll take it. I like it. I might as well have something to unwrap. So yeah, maybe instead of spending the rest on my own, because like our dad was saying like, okay, if you don't spend the rest of your money, just I guess spend it on your own and then bring it to my house so I can wrap it. So maybe I'll ask for just the money, and I can in my head be like, this is for trip. Yeah,
I could do that as well. What else did we do? We got some crumble cookies.
We did.
Yesterday was a day where we like, for I think the entire like after lunch and then like all the way into the evening, we were like, we need a sweet treat. We need a sweet treat. We need a sweet treat.
And it was just a matter of finding said sweet treat.
Yeah, because initially, so we had lunch, and we had our shopping excursion at 2:30, so we knew we were going to the mall.
Shopping excursion.
And I was like, ooh, I could get like a sweet treat at the mall. There's not a ton at the mall that would like be good for like a sweet treat. There's a few places that have milkshakes and stuff, so I was like, I'll get like a milkshake at like Chick-fil-A, or Zombie Burger's also there. They have a Cold Stone, but like Megan and I are historically anti-Cold Stone for whatever reason.
Once, and we don't have fun memories.
And then other than that, I couldn't think of any other sweet treats at the mall.
Not a lot.
And then we like did the whole thing. We ended up getting Chick-fil-A for like an early dinner with our dad and Haley, and then we all parted ways. So then we were leaving, and I was like, sweet treat. We need to get a sweet treat.
To be honest, like I like crumble. Obviously, otherwise we wouldn't have gotten it. But now that I've tried like a few different cookie places, mostly meaning like there's an Insomnia downtown.
And there was Scratch cupcakes. There was a Scratch like close by that had cookies also that were pretty good. Then Scratch closed.
So to be honest, I think Insomnia is like considerably better, but also like
it's like downtown.
It's downtown, and I'm not driving all the way.
We have
downtown,
but you know, not yesterday.
Yeah, we were in the area. Crumble was in the area, so that's what we got. I will say, because like they have gingerbread this week, and so we got a gingerbread cookie, and it's like permeating to the other cookie flavors, which is fine. But if I'm eating my chocolate cookie, I kind of want it to just be a chocolate cookie.
Yeah.
So it's got a strong flavor and scent profile.
Yep, it is permeating. It's like when
like I was eating a chocolate cookie, and I felt like I was eating like chocolate with like a little gingerbread.
Do you remember freshman year in our dorm when the temperature got messed up in the freezer part, and we had like those Tyson chicken tenders in the freezer, and then we also had our ice cream. The ice cream had melted, and then refroze when we had adjusted the temperature back. And then like, I don't know what the science behind this is, but like you could just taste like the chicken tender within the ice cream. And so I think we threw away. We never got those chicken tenders again too. I think that kind of like ruined it for us.
I don't miss being in a dorm. I really don't.
Me neither.
I was done being in a dorm after the first semester.
Yeah.
Book update. I am
back on track for my reading challenge.
I am planning on finishing 7 Days in June today, hopefully. I think I am like less than 50 pages left.
Nice. What are you thinking star-wise?
I think probably 4 stars. It could be like a 4.25, but I just don't know if I'm going to be like that picky enough where I care. So I'll probably just do 4.
Well, good. So I'm back on track. I have 4 books to read to get to my 50 book goal. And I think, fingers crossed, I should be able to do it. I'm trying to like still read relatively short books right now, or just like fast, easy to read books. So I read This Is How You Lose the Time War, which is very short, less than 200 pages. I gave it 3 stars. It's one of those books where I'm just like, I'm either too stupid to really fully understand what's going on, or the authors are trying way too hard, and like this isn't making any sense. It's still like, I didn't hate it. Like you would think that not really understanding it, I'd be like, this is stupid, I don't like it. I was like, I get like the vibes. I kind of like, I get the overall idea, and I like the idea of what's going on, but things were a little bit too abstract, and like they would like have a sense of like, what does that even mean? So, but the ending was like nice. So yeah, would I recommend it? I don't know, not necessarily. I think it takes a certain person to want to read like that kind of poetic, like a book that can be analyzed type of book. It's very much like, this is literature.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Okay.
That being said, it was a very quick read, and it got me on track with my reading goal. And now I'm reading Nora Goes Off Script. I'm only like 20 pages into that one, but it's also a short book. So hopefully my plan is to finish that one by Tuesday.
I'm only like, I have to be like in the mood for audiobooks, but I kind of just realized, because I think Spotify must have changed their audiobook things that they were doing, because I used to be able to see like, I could search audiobooks, but then it would be like you'd have to pay for it. So that's what I thought I'd have to pay for any audiobooks, which I don't care enough to do. But then with all this promotion that's been going on like YouTube and with different booktubers, I like researched a few titles, and it's like included with my Spotify now. So I don't know. I haven't tried like any Spotify audiobooks yet, but like I could see maybe if I want to like, I need to like search through and like see what's in the library.
This Is How You Lose Time War is on the audiobook.
Did you use any of that?
No. Because I just, at this point, I'm like, I want to like read the rest of my books before I even like try and consider any audiobooks. Sure. I'm like, right now I'm a purist. I don't listen to any audiobooks. No offense to anyone if you do. But I'm like, I want to read all 50 books. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That being said, if I got to like my goal or over my goal, I'd consider being like, okay, now we can like throw an audiobook in. As far as my goal for next year, I think I'm going to keep it at 50. Because this was a tough, after we got a dog, it was like, oof, it's kind of hard to.
You need like a graph of like books per month, and then it's just like.
Right before I got a job, I was in my book heyday. I think I read like 4 or 5 books in a week. And then after getting a dog, it was like,
most books I've read in a month this year is. Our next episode is going to be a book related one, so maybe we could talk about it, because it's going to be preview. Best books we've read each month is our next podcast episode. So sorry if you're not like a big book person, but it is going to be a book episode. And so that'd be the perfect thing to be like, I read this many books in this month. So we'll have it all scanned out and analyzed for your listening pleasure.
And then I think other books that I read Stillhouse Lake on Kindle Unlimited. And that was like a pretty good mystery
You've
thriller.
done all this since our last episode?
I don't remember saying I was reading Stillhouse Lake. So, unless I would just like didn't say I was reading it. But I feel like I did.
Then you read like 2 books in the past week.
They're both short, and I have to.
Yeah.
I have no choice. So, it was good. I think the series continues, so if I need more books, I might continue that book series at my leisure.
Okay. How do we want to begin the past
I think
12 years.
So this all really fully starts in like 2011, but I feel like we need some context because like, you know, we start with like TC2 and like, you know, that's where the story really begins. But there's some context before that to like help set the scene, I feel like, because it's like, why did we make a YouTube channel? Like, why did we start posting videos? And so to give you like the brief rundown, I feel like since we were younger, we were always interested in like recording ourselves for whatever reason.
And I feel like that's common amongst YouTubers who like started so long ago.
And so we had like camcorders and stuff around our house.
And like they weren't always like thought out ideas. They rarely were actually, but it was just like we always liked having cameras and like recording.
And I think I always, for whatever reason, liked the idea of being famous. Like I know like when Disney would have those like submit a video audition or whatever, like I was submitting to like all of those, you know.
Like the Shake It Off dance competition. You know we Shake It Up to that. Yeah, Shake It Up.
And then, like, Fred was, like, the biggest YouTuber known, I feel like, at that time when we were, like, starting to make videos. And so, like, we had, like, oh, it'd be really cool to be, like, to the level of fame that, like, Fred has. I don't even remember how many subscribers he had. But, like, in the context of today's YouTube, it was probably not that many.
I think he was the first to hit, like, 1 million subscribers.
But, like, that's kind of where our head was at. We were, like, we like to record ourselves. I feel like there was some essence of like wanting some sort of fame.
To like oftentimes we would like edit different videos on like Windows Movie Maker was like the original thing that we used before we had like a MacBook, and so it's like we would always like edit different videos and then like we wouldn't do anything with them, but it'd be like we'd mess around with the different
like the
things they had on there.
And I can recall specifically there's one video we made with our dog Hannah about like her going missing in like Paraguay or something.
Like it was like a skit that we did.
It made literally no sense, but like we filmed that, and again it was just
it's
for
kind of
us.
like that was our playtime. It was like it'd be us playing, but then also with the added layer of like we're recording this too.
Yeah. And so like that's like how we kind of got started. We didn't like upload these anywhere, and then Meg and I start gymnastics. Maggie starts cheer like just around the same time. Jerry, our uncle, Maggie's dad, ends up putting in this like really nice like lane of tumbling floor in their storage room. And so like every time we'd go over to Maggie's house, since we were all interested in like the same things, we would always like play in that room, tumble, whatever. And then like something else that we did at Maggie's house was also like continue recording videos and stuff over there. We have a video that our entire family thinks is hysterical. It's still somewhere, but we recorded like a Barbie girl music video
because like she had a MacBook at her house. It was
we
a
were
desktop
like
computer.
We were like when we go to Maggie's house, it was like iMovie unlocked.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we have to do something, because I wanted to use iMovie, because I was like, iMovie is better than Windows Movie Maker. And I think part of it was like also school always had MacBooks, and so like we had some exposure to iMovie through just like computer class and stuff, and I was like, oh, like Apple is better, I like iMovie better. And so we go to Maggie's house, and I was like, I want to use iMovie, so we need to record some stuff to like make something happen.
Yeah,
you know,
have some content to use.
And so then we just like record us doing like tumbling and stuff, and I don't like remember really the day at all, except for like I remember just like being
in like it was all three of us together. We came up with the name like that. Like it was just
I know sometimes people ask us like, how'd you come up with the name? And I was like, zero thought.
If you were familiar with TC2 lore, you already know this fact. But our channel was originally the Cheernastics, and that was it. It was just that. And like this was when like YouTube was old. It hadn't been bought by Google yet. Like none of that. And so I just had it associated with like my normal account, my normal email. And then eventually, I do not know when it was. So like I honestly don't remember when we started that channel, because like it's not a thing anymore. It's gone. And so with this 2011 that we're referring to, that's all we have. And I don't even remember what videos would have been on there, if any.
I don't know if we had fully made anything to upload at that point.
That being said, when at some point Google bought YouTube, and you had to have a Gmail associated with an account. So then it was kind of like I had two emails associated with our YouTube account. And then a little while later, I was under the impression that I could just delete my Gmail because I didn't ever use it, and I didn't want to have it, I guess, without.
We don't really like remember, honestly.
Anyways, I deleted it. It deleted the entire channel.
And again, I don't think there was anything uploaded at this point.
Like I don't remember feeling lost. Like we lost something. But that is how. It was
like, oh, like we'll just make another one.
That's how we made the second channel, and it was only like you had to have a username at that time. You couldn't have just a normal name. So the Gymnastics 2 thus was born. and that is what it was and is.
So it's only 2 because it was the second channel. Like, there's no other thought about it.
It's so interesting because it's like we're so far removed now, but it's just like, and we can talk about this like through the years, but like there's like lore almost like between our channel and kind of like between us and our viewers and how like they would perceive us versus
like Maggie coming onto the channel. It was a whole thing. Anyway, so again, you guys are hearing the story firsthand. It was the 3 of us, Megan, myself, and Maggie, that made a channel. Together. And we were 10, 11 years old, you know, children.
No thoughts.
Parents didn't know.
I was just going to say that.
Like, there's also, like, we weren't making money at this point. Like, just, we wanted to post videos somewhere. And so, Megan and I, like, I think we were more into making videos than Maggie, and we also obviously lived together. And so, Megan and I would continue recording videos, like, at our mom's house. Mm-hmm. And so, the first videos on TC2 are primarily, like, one of us at a time doing a tutorial, because the other one's recording the entire thing. With Megan's awful tablet that she had back in the day, where you can't really hear anything, you can't really see anything. That's how the channel started out.
It's so funny because, like, wasn't, again, I'm so young in those videos, but like I remember having like, I had like the forethought in mind enough to be like, our stepbrother like had that tablet before me, so I was asking him like how the camera and the quality on it was, and he had convinced me it was good enough. And then I just remember being so like upset and disappointed with said quality, and I'm just like envisioning those thoughts with like the person you'd see in front of the camera at that age.
You're like, you were thinking that?
You were thinking that? Yeah.
And so again, I think a lot of people, especially like as we get into like Maggie coming back on the channel, people were like thinking the channel just was started by Megan and I, and it was like originally like legitimately started with the 3 of us. And like Maggie, I don't remember what her first video like was that she was in.
I remember like a big turning point, even though like there had been like ins and outs. Like it was kind of like she was always like weaving in and out. She was always present. Like
2 ships passing in the night.
Yeah. But like, and I don't remember the subscriber count or anything like that. Obviously you could like look back and kind of like, if you saw like, we used to do some giveaways, so like you could have like some set point. But the video that like really was like a turning point was the how to do a hitch.
Well, here's what was
we had the bow giveaway. We had
I do remember what happened. So again, Maggie was popping in and out. Megan had at some point auditioned for 7 Gymnastics Girls and got into like that big collab channel, which like definitely helped with our exposure. And I don't know where this fully intertwines with like what was happening on TC2, but what I do know is that Megan and I were continuing to make videos on there. Maggie would pop in and out every once in a while, but then when 17 had reached out to us to like become partnered with them, that was like the turning point of like, okay, Maggie, are you in or are you out? You know, because that's when we had established like there needed to be some sort of like routine. This is when like more money was getting involved, or like we were getting paid for videos, and so it's like, is Maggie in or out?
Yeah,
you know. And so I think it was around like that time before How to Do a Hitch. I think there's a couple like of her posting solo videos, so she would post a little bit and like we would post, and like, you know,
and sometimes people would be like, who is this person?
But then like for How to Do a Hitch, and I think beyond that it was like we're all 3 in it together,
like very
pretty much all the time.
Yeah,
I think that was around 2013 or 2014. I don't fully remember. And also actually before that, do you remember when we had like the new member intro? That was technically like also really old, but then Maggie still kind of like fell off after that.
Yeah.
So, but like that's again proof that like she was in the channel from the start.
Like, it was small, and there was only like, we could only take it so serious, I guess, until like a certain point when it became more serious.
And so we must have. Did we end 7 Gymnastics Girls? No, we didn't end 7 Gymnastics Girls. Did we leave 7 Gymnastics Girls before Maggie was fully on? Because we had like our whole mini Olympics that we did right as we had quit 7 Gymnastics Girls. And that
for some reason, I want to say we did like the bow giveaway around like 200,000 subscribers. I don't know.
Well, we left SGG at 50,000.
I know. So I'm saying like the hitch video was combined with like the bow giveaway. I don't know. So
we should have checked our lore. I could probably like go on our channel and kind of look at some of this stuff. But then like we had left 7 Gymnastics Girls because we weren't like really feeling like we wanted to be part of the channel anymore.
We just wanted to dedicate more time and thought to our own.
And like TC2 was growing, obviously, whereas like most of the other girls on the channel, like they didn't really focus on their personal channels, and so we were the only ones really posting like on the collab channel as well as trying to grow our own channel. And we had just decided we're gonna stick with our channel.
And then I feel like, I mean, from 2014 when we quit 7 Gymnastics Girls until like, I'll say like 2017, because that's like through high school, I feel like we just kind of like I mean, when I tell you we were consistent, like between those years, we would usually post either twice a week or once a week, and it would just kind of depend on how busy
and
we
like,
were.
I would always be amazed because we would kind of go back and forth, and we'd be doing like twice a week for a while, and I'd be like, this is fine, like this is doable, and we go down to once a week, and then I'd be like, how were we doing twice a week?
Mm-hmm. And so we had TC Tuesdays and Flipping Fridays, and I mean, when I tell you, like, we took this very seriously, like we took that channel very seriously, and like we were the brains behind the operations.
And the bow giveaway was posted on June 1st, 2014.
So she joined, like, that's not 50,000, like that's not 200,000 subscribers, but
no,
it was shortly after our mini Olympics and leaving SGG.
I'll look and see. When did I say June 2014? I'll look to see when our mini Olympics was.
April something
of 2014.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, like, in terms of like video creation, recording, editing, like all of that was done by us. No other. And Maggie had like intermittent involvement. This used to be like a huge source of tension, honestly, like between us and Maggie, like just like through the years, and being that we don't really like work together in this capacity anymore, like it's not an issue, and I don't think that Maggie would mind us sharing some of this, but like there would definitely be a lot of tension in terms of, I feel like we didn't feel like Maggie was taking the channel as seriously at the time or putting in as much effort as we were, because like we were the ones editing the videos. Ciera and I, to be honest, Ciera was the one editing at first because she knew how to do more and she would teach herself more. Then eventually I kind of felt like I needed to like take some of the weight off. So I learned how to edit a little bit better as well. And Maggie can edit and like would edit, but it was also like,
here's the thing is that we would record with our equipment, and so like we had the SD cards. I didn't really mind that she didn't edit, but I also like sometimes felt like she didn't like fully appreciate like the extra work that we still had to do, like when she left filming.
And then also like there'd be periods of time where it felt like we were doing more of the planning and the video conceptualization, and then like again it would be like she would just kind of like come and show up. And this was also like a hard thing to balance in terms of like she also struggled through quite a few like injuries, whether it was concussions or other injuries, or like I just know Maggie wasn't as comfortable with like the tumbling and whatnot as much as Ciera and I were. And so it kind of became like
not only was like a source of contention between like us internally, but like our audience was like starting to like develop their own personal thoughts about like what dynamic they thought was going on. And we tried to like be open by explaining like Maggie doesn't like to do as much of like the like difficult tumbling and whatever that Megan and I are comfortable doing.
Yeah.
And so like sometimes for like video concepts it would be like a versus battle between Megan and I, or
and
like
maybe Maggie would take on more of like a host role or different things like that. And people in the comments like weren't always okay with that.
Yeah, which was actually interesting because like that shows the dynamic shift of when Maggie first started the channel. A lot of people were like opposed to her joining the channel because they're like, it's been you two, like we don't want another person added. And then I felt like after a while, like when people like she was fully established on the channel, people would like come and like defend Maggie and like say like Megan and Ciera like don't include her, or like Maggie's not getting enough attention because like she's not getting to do these parts.
We really felt like we were trying our best to like balance all of that, and like the other people don't know all the behind the scenes of like, you know, we would love, like we were like begging, I feel like sometimes for Maggie to like please do this
round of fact talk.
That was a round of fact talk, like Maggie, that was like kind of like her like highest level difficulty skill like at the gym that she would
regularly do.
Yeah,
she had higher level tumbling that she didn't want to do.
Yeah, and you know you could only do so much, and it'd more so be like me and Ciera would like beg her and like plead her to try something so like that the fans could like see literally. That she was, because
people would be like, you guys, like Maggie doesn't get to do anything, like you guys don't let her do anything. I'm like, Maggie, please do this round of back talk for this like tutorial.
Maggie's probably better at just like blocking it out and being like, I have no care, because like she knew she was the one that was like deciding what she did or didn't want to do, and I just was like, for me the please.
People think that I'm like not letting you do anything.
But then I feel like, I mean, we grew pretty comfortable in terms of like just what we did.
We had like the ideas were flowing pretty regularly. I would say like all the way through high school, like no issues. Like that was like our heyday.
Yeah.
We hit 1 million subscribers in 2016. And so that was like, I think the start of our senior year. And like, we just had a great, like our senior year was great going into YouTube. We obviously had a ton of cool opportunities at that point. We did. We went to California and like got to host like some part of the Olympic Media Summit. We got to go to VidCon a couple times and like do a performance there in 2015 or 16. I think it was 2015 that we did like a performance there. And yeah, then we got to
college.
I guess we should also say, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say we were going to college, but Maggie was not.
I was going to start another timeline before we get too far of ourselves. We had created an extras channel called TC2 Extras. I don't remember what year it was created, but this was the time when people would always make like second channels for content not related to their main channel. And so it was TC2 Extras because it was like videos for stuff that was not gymnastics and cheerleaded. And so the intention behind that channel was that it would be if Megan, myself, or Maggie wanted to post, then like we could.
Because like we said, like we liked doing just videos in general. So if they weren't cheer or gymnastics related, like there was a nice little spot for them.
Yeah. And so again, being that Maggie, I just don't think cared to make videos on her own. Like Megan and I ended up posting most of the videos on there initially, and it stayed TC2 Extras for a while.
I want to say until we like went to college.
But then like after a while, it was like just Megan and I posting. It was essentially our vlog channel at that point anyways. And then we had talked to Maggie and
at some point Maggie like made her own channel.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of like, okay, we'll take this. You take your own channel.
Yeah. And so
it all
the TC2 Extras channel then became Megan and Ciera, which we took more of a lead on as we got into college. Back to your timeline.
So, come August 2017, it's so funny because like we specifically like distinctly remember like the last time we recorded like normal or quote unquote normal before going to college, and it was like, okay, I guess
it was like we had such a routine down. Like our mom's backyard was iconic for like all our videos at that point. And so like we like filmed like normal. Maggie would always come over to our house. Meg and I would have all the equipment and stuff pulled out and set up and
record the videos, and
just so like we did that and we were like, well,
rinse and repeat.
And like we had no plans. That whole summer I feel like we were kind of like, do we continue the channel? Do we not?
I think
Meg and I were retired at that point from like physically doing gymnastics.
Yeah. I think at one point like we honestly did think like we'll just end it here and like call it a day.
Yeah.
But then when we finally approached, it didn't feel right to stop.
Like our views were still pretty good, I think. I mean, obviously like compared to like now, like we have multiple points in our career that I feel like we look back and I was like, I remember at the time feeling like these views suck, and then I like look at it now and I'm like, those views are good.
Yeah. Like you should have been so grateful.
Yeah.
And I think that we had this idea of like we would still post kind of cheer, gymnastics, and or like transition to kind of fitness content, and Ciera and I would do our best to do that in Iowa City, and then Maggie would do that on her own, and then like as we were able, we could get together and record. And I remember within like the first couple weeks that kind of fell apart, and I feel like we kind of felt like, oh my god, we're losing people. That's how I felt.
Yeah, I do remember. I have to like look back specifically at like what exactly we did. I do think very quickly though we decided we have to go back to like also doing with all three of us.
Like it was getting what we had to do to record in Iowa City because we were limited so much by like where, like we had our dorm and outside if we could find reasonable areas. But like I remember walking to a park with like all of our equipment, and it was like a mile to get there and a mile back, and I remember thinking like we cannot do this.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And so I don't remember, it might have been as early as like that October and November being like change of gears. We had a car, or no, we didn't have a car, but like every once in a while we would like bulk film videos.
Yeah.
So then like,
and we probably just did once a week. So then it'd be like,
yeah,
we had videos, you know, if we got like 4 videos done, then there's like a month's worth of videos. And then it was kind of like, okay, just get to like winter break, and then like we'll be back and be able to do stuff together again.
And that's like basically I felt okay about like when we like decided to like get back to like filming all together again, because like again you said filming in Iowa City was just like not didn't feel right, and so it felt like comfortable getting back home. We would like use the gym because our coach was still like very welcoming and accepting of us using her gym even though we literally didn't do gymnastics anymore. And so like that's kind of how things carried on. You guys know we had like 2 or 3 crises at some point, like during college, when we were like, we're not posting gymnastics videos anymore. And then we would like go back to posting gymnastics videos and like we would stop. And so like that was still always there of like feeling inauthentic, losing our skills, feeling like we couldn't post good gymnastics and cheer content
because we weren't doing this stuff regularly.
But we would still like always kind of go back that direction, it felt like. And I don't know if it just felt like, I don't know,
like
we had like these crises every time.
New, it like didn't feel like something we really cared that much about, but we thought it'd be like a reasonable transition. And then also the viewers weren't as interested either because
so and just like I felt obligated to like post cheer and gymnastics content because I was like, we are the #1 gymnastics channel like on YouTube. Yeah. Like, what are we doing?
So, I mean, then there was COVID and that threw us for a loop, but we still like through COVID and all the way through
that's when
until
we
like
hit 2 million. Who would have thought that happened?
Yeah. Like, honestly, like we kept going through like grad school a little bit, like even
and then we had switched to like filming at Maggie's house for a little bit too.
Yeah,
we switched backyards.
And then I feel like, I mean, obviously through this whole time, like views are going down a little bit. We're getting further and further away from like our own gymnastics and cheer careers, and like things like if they weren't hard before, like they're hard now. And our interest levels, I would say, in what we were posting just like wasn't really there.
Like coming up with ideas was so hard. At this same time, like through college and then also like through grad school, Megan and I are like getting more and more serious with posting vlogs on our Megan and Ciera channel. We very much start to take on the role of being like college YouTubers who like show like days in the life and like studying and filming and like that kind of stuff.
Like, that became way more prevalent, I feel like, once we started grad school too, because like we did that in undergrad, but like even it wasn't as often, I feel like. So I feel like once we went to PT school, we had gotten more serious about, we were posting more regularly on Megan and Ciera. We were obviously still posting on TC2, but
it was very much like, I felt like we had like this separation of like, we've got our Megan and Ciera channel, we have TC2, and they're kind of separate at this point.
And I felt more connected to our Megan and Ciera channel, and like I cared about posting those videos, and I felt like I knew what we were doing with that channel, whereas like it was just getting harder and harder.
TC2 felt very much of like this, I don't know what we're doing, but like we're just going to keep doing it. Our first year of grad school, we were still doing it, like cheer and gymnastics type videos. We would go home every couple of weeks or like once a month or something, film with Maggie. She was in college at this point too, so like we'd all have to like coordinate to go back to Des Moines for the weekend and film. And I feel like we were just like, I don't want to think about it. So like we're in this loop and we're just going to keep
and then like every few months we would kind of all be like,
what are we doing?
What are we doing? And then like it was our second year of grad school. Towards like the end of the first semester, like going into winter break, we were just like, we just finally all decided like, what are we doing? And I don't know what specifically was like the tipping point, except for probably like we couldn't think of any video ideas.
It was so funny because like the last video idea or the last video on that channel for like the longest time was just like me doing that Bretman Rock ab workout. And then we were like, you know what, guys? Peace. We can't do it anymore.
It was just didn't feel right. And we always kind of like, we never said, like, there was never like a, this is the NFTC2 video.
We posted a community tab post.
It was all just kind of like, we need to see, like, how we feel about stuff.
Yeah. And we'll see you when we see you.
It ended up being, 9 months? More than that?
I don't remember exactly.
And we posted, like, they weren't really even, like, gymnastics videos, because we're like, maybe we can do more, like, lifestyle type videos, but like it just was also something like we didn't really care about.
I feel like we had like this change, like an increase in like, oh, like we want to do this, and I'm really happy with how that video turned out. If you're talking about like the one that we did for like the splits video or whatever is what I'm thinking of.
I'm happy with that video and I like that one. There was like a couple before then that like we had posted. I don't know, maybe I'm getting confused. I honestly think I'm getting confused between like right when we were done, I was like, those videos are rough. So that might have been what I think.
Yeah, because I think that after that ab workout, I think it was like Maggie's one video of like her day in the life video, and then I think it was like the splits video, and then we posted that Hilar video, and I don't think we've posted anything.
I was just gonna say, I was like, what have we even posted?
And then I distinctly remember this is like what made us kind of just decide to like not post anything.
The splits video has 72,000 views.
Like, you know, hey,
you know,
we got something. Evergreen videos, that's what we would say for like videos that aren't trendy and like anyone can look up at any time. That's why I always like to do tutorials. I just look
back at that video because I was really happy with like how we edited it. Here's the thing. We did rent out a space for that, which cost money. And I mean, I don't know how much it's earned at this point now, but like it couldn't really like, I loved the production value and like I felt good and proud of that video because of like what we did to do it, but it was also like I can't justify this.
Like, are we losing money doing this
for every video? And like I'm not made to be in my own backyard recording 6-inch cheer videos at this point.
What really I think hit the nail on the head was when Meg and I had decided like we're gonna record some shorts, like some tutorial shorts. Again, we wanted to do like the evergreen content.
Yeah, because I was kind of like, we can always take on like a coaching role and you know, show people how to do stuff. Then it came to showing people how to do stuff.
And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so then literally in the middle of like recording those, like trying to record those shorts, there's also like logistically just like filming wise, like
we were
it was
trying
hard
to do it in our house and it was not working well.
And we were both just kind of like, we cannot do this. Either like for sure not right now,
but also like
potentially not ever.
Yeah. So since then, because it was like, that was, I feel like we tried doing the shorts somewhat shortly after like posting that splits video because we were kind of like, this is maybe the new realm we're going to take stuff. And like physically, like it was a physical problem where I was like, I think we're like trying to start with like how to do a back bend or something like that. And like,
I was like, I can't hardly do a back bend.
My abs right now are being stretched to the max. This is not, I'm going to have the ugliest looking back bend in this tutorial where I'm showing you how to do a back bend. And it started just to really feel like disingenuous I was like, I don't really care to be doing this right now.
Yeah. And we've had like plenty of people over the years saying like that we should give the channel to someone else, or like Maggie's sister should take the channel on. We have no desire to have someone else take over the channel. And I also just feel like this landscape of YouTube is so different now that like, again, we might not be like getting views gymnastics and cheer wise, but no one else really is either.
Bubble. Yeah. But I kind of like right now how just like it is what it is.
It's a portfolio.
There's videos that I am really proud of. There's videos I think that we were very creative and did very well. Copyright. That's also come back to bite us in the butt. Like, we don't need to talk about that in this video, but like
in this episode.
But like, because we still make money from that channel, obviously just from like recurring views and stuff. But like, YouTube used to be a little more lax with copyright stuff, and we thought that we were doing stuff that was like quote unquote okay,
and it was not.
And then also we've had this issue of like, there are songs that we should have been allowed to use from a sound library.
Don't even get us started on this.
And apparently that's not true. And so there are videos that like in my mind we should still be making money on, but we're not. So there's quite a few videos on our channel now, like quite a few, that like aren't making any money now.
They're making money.
It is what it is.
Just not for us.
Yeah.
And then I wish you could turn monetization off, because I'm just like, well, I don't want you making money either, but you can't do that when they claim it. So that's stupid.
So
shout out to our network for that one.
Yeah. We're no longer partnered.
Yeah.
Actually now.
Good. So I can blame them all I want.
Anyways, so I honestly, like, if I were to like say what I envision for TC2, like, I kind of just feel like
it will just sit on the internet where it's at.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, I'm fine with that.
Me too.
There was a time
where like I really wasn't fine with like fully letting it go.
But now like I love to like go back and watch videos and like reminisce, and I'm comfortable with the fact that like I think the more you are removed from it, the easier it is to say like, I just know that it's not that anymore. Like, I can't make that anymore. When it's still like kind of close of like high school, again, when we were in high school, was its heyday. And then like get into freshman year, I was like, it's not that different.
It's easy for outsiders too to look in and say like, you have the formula for success. All you have to do is keep doing that. And then they take everything else out of the equation, like physical capabilities, the logistics of like all the hard work and planning once we had grown up and left our bubble of just like being in the same area
high school
at the same
with
time.
Like no obligations.
And then all of a sudden like we have way more we're trying to do at the same time. And then you have like, again, YouTube was changing at this time too. So it wasn't just like rinse and repeat, do the same thing over and over and you're guaranteed success, because like we were trying to do that, and we were still seeing considerable decline in engagement and viewers.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like just that. It was like, okay, things are different now.
So obviously, like, our Megan and Ciera channel is one way that we tried to like change things up. We're still doing that, obviously, and like the great thing about a lifestyle channel like that is that like it just changes with us and we don't have to do anything.
And I feel like what's nice too is like while we've brought you along with us in undergrad and us through PT school, and we've done specific videos and content related to that stuff, it's always been just more so a channel about us and like who we are, and we don't try to market ourselves necessarily as like the PT people, the PT YouTubers, or anything like that. And so I feel like that helps to make it so that hopefully you're just watching our videos for us and whatever we choose to post. So like we'll post vacation vlogs, we'll post, you know, some sit down videos every once in a while. Like it's hopefully people just are okay watching whatever we want to post.
Yeah. As we're wrapping things up, obviously we can't forget the very podcast that you're listening to. We started our podcast in 2019. I don't feel like there was a specific reason. It just felt like the barrier to enter was pretty low, and we had been getting more into podcasts ourselves, and so
we were like,
we decided to start one. We're like, it can't be that hard.
And honestly, it's been a fun, fairly low stress the whole time we've been doing it. So if you've ever wanted to start a podcast, I know the podcast space is crowded and saturated, but like there's plenty of room for people to do podcasts. And if you
like, just be okay with knowing that you might not have a ton of listeners when you first get started, but like if you enjoy doing it,
right,
no skin off your back.
Right. And like when we first started, like, I mean, obviously we get paid from this now, but like for a while also we didn't get paid for doing our podcast. And so like it's always good to start from a place of like just wanting to genuinely do something, and then if you get rewarded for it down the line, then like even better. But I mean, we just like sitting down and talking for an hour a week most of the time. So
and we've gotten lucky enough that we've been able to like upgrade our equipment, our space, obviously, turn into recording like some video content for the podcast as well. So it's by no means perfect, but
it's what we got.
Pleased with where we're at right now. And I think that just about covers everything in terms of our evolution on the internet.
I feel like I need to go every time we're done like going down memory lane. I'm like, I need to go watch some like old TCT videos.
We have, if you look at how many videos we've created, I think we have like over 1,000 videos of like backlogged content among all of our channels.
Probably.
So there is certainly no shortage.
At least has 700. I think.
Does.
So and if there's more than 300 on, there's a lot of videos that we've done.
So if you yourself either want to walk down memory lane or you haven't seen these certain versions of ours on the internet, feel free to go take a look.
As always, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching the video, or you can do whatever you have to do on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I never know what you do.
Subscribe or follow. I don't know.
So yeah, I hope you guys liked listening to this episode.
It's fun to talk about.
We will talk to you guys next Thursday.
Bye.